Hello everyone. I thought I'd make another video. I made one a couple weeks ago and I felt the urge to make another one. I'm gonna try not to ramble here. I've been having some thoughts about everything that's been going on lately. So I don't know, I have a tendency to ramble, but I will say that I'll be more on point than Deanne is in her lives. And maybe I'll demonstrate to her if she watches this video, or if her spies watch it and they let her know. I'll demonstrate how to properly do a video while driving. How about that? So I haven't done a blog post in a while about multi-level marketing or LuLaRoe specifically. I've been really busy. I've got several sort of topics in the pipeline that I don't know if or when I'm going to get to. But I was kind of thinking another blog post was kind of coming to me, and I thought maybe I'll do a video first instead. And so this might be a precursor to a future blog post that I write. But, I was, with all the people quitting and, this damage control or whatever we want to call it, some of the passive-aggressive posts, some of them not so passive-aggressive, posts that we're seeing, just made me think about a couple of things. So really, I actually want this video, this message is actually more for like the Megan Parkers and the Lindsay Wheelers of the world, or these other people that sell LuLaRoe, Katie May Money, Pam Webster, all of these people. And I wanted, what I've seen lately is, I think, what you typically see in any kind of cult. And remember, a cult doesn't have to be a Jim Jones style cult where everybody commits suicide in the end, right? I mean, a lot of times when you call out an organization as being a cult, the members of that organization will, they'll say, "Oh, that's ridiculous. We're not committing suicide," or they'll say something along those lines. Well, that's not the only thing that makes a cult a cult. So, multi-level marketing often takes the form of a cult. More often than not, it does, and LuLaRoe is no exception to that. And I think even though I've never participated in multi-level marketing companies, I've followed them for a long time, but I escaped a cult when I was 32. I was a member of a cult for from the time I was born till I was 32 years old. So I understand what it's like to be on both sides. And so I just wanted to maybe shed a little bit of light for them, and maybe they can listen to this and kind of take a step back and say, okay, let's take a deep breath. Let's reevaluate where we're at. And I think the thing that most triggered me to think about this was, there was a video done the other day, and somebody's going to have to tell me the name in the comments. I think it was posted in Defective. Maybe I saw it somewhere else. Her name is Emily something. I can't remember her last name. But she made a Facebook post on her on her personal Facebook, but it was shared public, so it wasn't I was able to watch it on her page. And she went on this big long rant about Defective, and about how Defective is just about bullying and body shaming. And she claims that I don't know, she says that there was a thread. I never saw this thread, but she says there was a thread in Defective making fun of her for not wearing a bra or something, and for supposedly being ugly, or whatever the case. And she kind of gave a whole long list of all this bullying that was going on. The problem with the video was that she sort of presented this idea, this image of Defective as being with one sole purpose, and that is to bully and body shame other women. And if you didn't know anything about Defective and you watched this video, that would be the impression that you walk away with. And I actually made a comment to the effect of on her video about how she was not properly representing the group, and that yes, I mean, it's a huge group, and sometimes people do cross a line, but those people are typically kicked out, and that the underlying purpose and message of the group is not body shaming. And her and a friend of hers kind of had a little back and forth with me, and I said that they were gaslighting, and then that they claimed I didn't know what gaslighting was, which is, just as a side note, is kind of funny because, I mean, not that they would know this, but I actually had an op-ed published in the Salt Lake Tribune last year about gaslighting. So, but not that that means I know what gaslighting is. So, I mean, obviously I could be clueless on gaslighting, but I was very tempted to post a link to that op-ed, but I didn't. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. And then I saw, let's see, what else did I see this weekend? Okay, is it, I don't know if it was Megan Parker or Lindsay Wheeler, one of the two, had a post about, like, all the rumors going around, and then she was like, fact this, and then fact. I'm sure you all saw it. And she was kind of saying how, you know, LuLaRoe is doing great no matter what they tell you, and, you know, it was kind of a Baghdad Bob kind of post. And the thing that really caught my eye in that post was, at one point she said, she was talking about how people ask her if she's leaving because all these people leaving, and she said, you know, if my feelings towards LuLaRoe change, you will be the first ones to know. And I was just like, you know, all this bullshit heaped on bullshit, and then that was like the cherry on top, because it's like, how insulting is that to the people, her audience, that she thinks that they would believe that? I mean, maybe I'm oversimplifying it. I'm not, maybe, you know, she probably didn't put that much thought into it. You know, a lot of this manipulation is subconscious, but it's like, does she actually expect people to believe that the exact moment she has a doubt about her future with LuLaRoe, the first people she's going to tell is her customers? I mean, that would be horrible business, first of all, because she hasn't made a decision yet. But second of all, it's just not even practical. But, you know, I mean, she's going to talk to her husband and her friends and possibly Mark and Deanne first before, you know, and she might even change her mind back to liking LuLaRoe during that process. And then her customers would never even know she was having doubts. So, but, you know, it's not about that one little comment or the one video by that lady named Emily or whatever. This is more about, like, kind of one other thing. Deanne, her driving live, and, you know, she said a lot of crazy stuff in that video. But when somebody asked about Sarah Gibbons quitting, and then she kind of went on a little bit of a crazy rant, and part of that rant, she said that she did the whole buying in Los Angeles. Now, I'm going to assume that what she meant was buying from multiple wholesalers and selling retail is what I'm assuming she meant. But she kind of said it like, oh, buying clothes in Los Angeles and reselling them, which I guess she either assumes or that is what Sarah Gibbons is going on to do. And she says, oh, I tried that for 27 years and was not successful. And I'm like, whoa. First of all, I seriously doubt that Deanne was selling retail, had a retail boutique for 27 years. But if she did, if that's true, that she was selling clothes in a boutique for 27 years, how could she say that was a failure? I mean, that's longer than most businesses last. But anyway, I don't even believe it's true. But anyway, so here's my point. I'm going to try to bring this all together here. When people are part of cults and they end up leaving, you know, they go through this grief cycle. And you're probably aware, many of you are probably aware of it. I'm no expert in it, but, you know, two of the stages of the grief cycle, and I believe they're the first two stages, is denial and then anger/bitterness. And I can tell you that, you know, my own experience, you know, I went through that. And obviously the cycle continues and eventually you come to accept it. But the majority of the people in defective are in that bitter stage. And a lot of the people still in LuLaRoe but are sort of questioning, they are in that denial phase still. But I want I want all of the consultants out there who have their spies and tentacles inside Defective to understand that this Facebook group Defective largely serves a purpose of an outlet for people that are going through the bitter stage, the anger stage. And that's an important stage to go through in the grieving process. You have to do it. You have to be able to process what happened to you. I had to do that, what happened to me for 32 years, how some of my life choices would have and could have been different. And so the people leaving LuLaRoe have to do the same thing. They're coming from this high demand, high pressure, brainwashed environment where, any kind of question is seen as being negative and divisive and not allowed, and sort of this, textile dictatorship that's going on. And so they need a place to vent and get things off of their chest. So they have Defective. Now, I'd say probably 80% of the content on Defective is productive in terms of processing all of that. And, it's great content, great sort of expression of feelings, expression of experiences, criticisms of actual sort of tangible issues within LuLaRoe. And then you do get people who cross the line that, they'll start making fun of the way somebody looks or in the clothes or whatever. And that's unfortunate. I'm not a fan of that. I wish people wouldn't do that. But that's going to leak in. When you're dealing with this anger, bitter phase, that's going to leak in. And so, you just have to accept it and realize it. And I think the mods do a good job of trying to filter that out. But here's what I would just ask. Again, I'm starting to ramble. I'm going to try to rein this back in and finish it within the next minute or two. Here's what I want the consultants to think about, okay? When you think about Defective, first of all, you shouldn't think about Defective. If you're happy, if you're selling, if you're doing well, whatever they say in Defective really doesn't matter, because your customer service, the quality of your product, all that kind of stuff will speak for itself. For example, this might be an extreme example, but think of Apple or Microsoft or whatever, where these are huge companies that have haters, right? I'm sure we could go and find Facebook groups who nitpick and pick apart everything that they see as being bad about Apple. But, you don't see Apple really addressing those issues unless there happens to be one that's legitimate. But by and large, Apple goes about its business. It tries to create products that its customers want. It tries to be innovative, and it lets its product speak for itself. And so my first advice would be just ignore Defective. If people listen to Defective and leave, it doesn't matter, because it shouldn't affect you. Although it does, because, multi-level marketing is a scam. And you need those people under you to keep making money. But that's, that kind of leads into my second point. Take a step back. Take a deep breath. Clear your head, clear your mind. Clear the mechanism. That's a silly reference to a baseball movie. And ask yourself, why do these people in Defective and other places say that LuLaRoe is a scam? Truly try to understand. All I ever see from all of these people that are trying to defend LuLaRoe against Defective is accusations of this being a bunch of bullying, bitter women. And that's just not true. Okay? It's just not true. The fact that there might be a small percentage of people that act like that does not make it representative of the entire group. And the cult that I escaped from does the same thing. You'll see members of that cult go and say, oh, the people that left are just being bitter, and they're being, they just are jealous, or, they say the same types of of words, the same language, and they never actually try to understand why it is they are as bitter as they are. And so and also, and accompanied with that, when they say it's a scam, don't just dismiss that out of hand. Try to understand, why do they say it is a scam? Okay, go and Google multi-level marketing scam or whatever, and you can read. Just, it doesn't have to be about LuLaRoe, just about the multi-level marketing structure in general. And I don't want to hear that, oh, well, I make this much money or that much money, and so it's not a scam. People make money at scams. That's the whole point. The whole point of a scam is that a very small amount of people make money on false promises made to a bunch more people who lose money. That's a scam. And so just because, lobbyists have successfully made multi-level marketing a legalized scam doesn't make it any less of a scam. So again, if nothing else, my message of this long video, which is probably at this point not even worth watching, but take a step back, take a deep breath. Ask yourself, why is it that the people in Defective are the way they are? And try to come up with some reasons other than to say that they're petty bullies who are just bitter and jealous. Because that's not the case with the exception of, and in fact, I don't even really think, even the women that crossed the line in the group with the body shaming, even in that case, they're not doing it, in my opinion, because they're being bullies or they're being jealous or whatever. In my opinion, that's just the way that their venting has manifested itself. When they say somebody looks horrible in a LuLaRoe dress, or they look frumpy, or they look fat, or whatever, they're not so much talking about that individual person. They're more talking about what that image represents to them, which is this scam that sucked away so much of their life and their money. So anyway, I'll end my rant there. Lindsay Wheeler, Megan Parker, Pam Webster, Katie Money, feel free to private message me. I'm sure I'll get a bunch of messages from you here. I'm open to a dialogue. Try to understand where people are coming from. And that's it. Peace.